You know them as Lori, Carl, and Judith from The Walking Dead. Please welcome Sarah Wayne Callies, Chandler Riggs, and Cailey Fleming.
Hey, everybody.
All right.
Awesome. So thank you, guys, for taking the time today. We really appreciate having you here. So I'm curious, I'm just going to kick it right off. You guys know that the show's ending soon, right? Or it's coming, right?
Don't want to break some bad news to you guys if you didn't know.
Everybody knows that, right? What are your thoughts about it finally coming to an end? I'm curious.
Well, every good story has an ending. I mean, it's I don't know, it's not exactly a show that I feel like it needs to go on forever. It has an ending. I mean, the comic books, they have an awesome ending, so I'm very, very excited to see kind of what the show decides to adapt from that and make into their own. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, and I know Cailey probably can't speak too much of it, but you just as a fan now, knowing kind of what your character has as a finish in the comics, are you kind of hoping to maybe see the same thing passed to her a little bit or see that mirrored a little bit?
I don't know. I feel like that's definitely a possibility. I don't know. But she hasn't told me anything. I don't know.
Can't get it out of her, can you?
I can't.
Good.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
What about you, Cailey? How are you thinking about the end?
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody to see it. Really, the last episode, we worked really hard on it.
Great. What about you, Sarah?
Can I just take a second to thank you guys for coming?
Round of applause for yourselves, guys.
You guys, it is deep being together. These conventions have always been kind of cool because we don't see you when you see us, so we don't know what you think about the show until we show up. But I don't know about y'all, I had a weird couple of years. I don't know if anybody else had a pandemic, but it feels like a reclaiming something beautiful to all be sitting together and sharing this space. So thank you for that, because it's healing something in my heart, and I'm very grateful to you guys for being there. And I have no idea how the show ends. I haven't ever watched the show. I haven't ever read the comic books, so I'm useless for that question. But thank you for being here.
That's perfect. Perfect answer. Go ahead.
All right, let's see. So I guess for you, you haven't really watched it or whatever, but to get a Walking Dead question out of the way, with you being a kid, you haven't had to step up into any role or whatever, but what do you think with this Commonwealth storyline that's going on, which is this kind of crazy community where everything seems completely normal pre-pandemic or pre-apocalypse, as far as we know. I'm still in that mindset now too, yeah. It's a pandemic. It's a different kind of pandemic. It's a little worse, maybe. But yeah, so have you found yourselves, your characters who are no longer on the show, and then even with you, kind of if you were older, or you as Chandler, Cailey, and Sarah, what do you think kind of your roles and what you would end up doing in that community?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if Carl were still alive, he kind of would have followed his comic book storyline, kind of similar to how he had been doing previously. But he didn't play a super big role in the Commonwealth. It was more the Whisperer storyline was more of his kind of big thing, which we actually got to see Matt Lintz do. Matt Lintz is one of my good friends in real life, so getting to see him. If you guys have seen season 9, the guy who played Henry, an incredible actor, incredible guy. He did an awesome job. It was so cool for me. Yeah, he's awesome. But it was so cool for me getting to see one of my real life friends get to go and play some of the stuff from the comic books, from Carl, and bring it to life. It was so cool. It's awesome.
We're just trying to figure out what the question was and how to answer it.
Yeah.
I think if our characters were still alive on the show, then what would they be doing in the Commonwealth? Which is this new community.
Raising y'all.
There you go.
Perfect answer.
Yeah.
I would be growing up.
Yeah. Still jamming Motorhead, so there's that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's great. I'm curious to know, Lori, if your character, sorry, I know you're not Lori, Sarah, if your character had survived, if you think Judith might have turned out a little bit differently than her characters and her personality on the show if she had been raised by Lori instead of Rick and Michonne.
Again, I know we can all say it together. I don't watch the show, so I don't know how she turned out. This human being seems to be killing it. I mean, it does seem to me that a child who loses a parent before they ever get a chance to know them probably has a certain relationship to the world, which is there is a fundamental relationship that only exists in my imagination. And that's got to do something to you. I think Lori and Michonne are warriors in radically different ways. I think they would have really liked each other. I really wish I got to work with Denai, because I think she's great. But no, I mean, I think there's probably a big difference for a young person who grows up without the story of this enormous burden, right? In a way that, like, your mother gave her life for you. That, if it were me, that would make me feel like I better do something with this life because somebody gave themselves for me. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. What you said.
Perfect.
All right, now just so we have some people out in the audience, so go ahead and take an audience question real quick. Somebody here? What we got?
My question is kind of for Sarah, and we know how Lori, it's kind of. She says the baby was Rick's. What do you think?
We've had this conversation before. I'm happy to have it again.
Yes.
I would say having gone through years after the show, the misogyny leveled at Lori is not worthy of who we are now. If this show had been written by women, if there were more women in entertainment media, there would have been a very different relationship to a woman. Yes, ma'am. There we go. And this is not, by the way, this is not a response to you, but it's been very interesting to receive as a grown woman with an Ivy League degree in feminist theory, people walking by you on the street and going, "You're a fucking whore." I'm sorry, I don't know who raised you, but my husband's about to put you in the emergency room because I married well. So those questions about the parenthood of, to me, as a mother personally with a biological child, it's a pretty easy answer. The man who stepped up to raise that child is that child's father.
Good answer. Great. So then, follow up, Carl. Were you ever aware that that Shane was ever a part of the picture and a question of it all?
Was Carl, the character, aware of
the character?
Lori?
Do you think he was aware there was ever a question?
I think at some point along the way, he kind of put the pieces together a little bit, that there was more going on than he was told, and he was understanding of that because he was a kid. I think there was actually, I'm pretty sure there was a scene in season 5 or 6 between Rick and Carl about Judith and talking about Shane, and it was kind of implied there that Carl had kind of pieced it together, but didn't ever want to bring it up to Rick because it'd be kind of a awkward,
Just a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good one.
We talk. I have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Sarah. This is for you. As a real life mom, and then as an actor, in the prison when Lauren Cohan's character had to deliver Cailey's character. Cailey, were you the baby, or was the baby played by someone else?
It was not me.
Little ass kicker. Okay.
We had about 7 different pairs of twins,
Yes,
by the way,
I have heard that.
throughout the course
okay.
before Cailey stepped in.
Okay, yeah. Sarah, what was it like for you as an actor? Because, your mic. Is that
Check.
thing on? Check.
Oh, there you go.
This one works.
Yes, good.
I'm sorry. Yes?
That's okay. Sarah, what was it like? Because it was an emergency C-section with no anesthesia at all. What was that like for you as a real-life mom?
Well, I tell you, when I got pregnant with my first, I was like, oh, this is a natural process, so I'll have a midwife-attended home birth. And I committed to it because I was too far away from a hospital. And about 6 hours in, I was like, whoa, I underestimated the situation. And I took 2 extra strength Tylenol. And I remember my midwife laughing so hard she cried.
Because that does not help.
She said, literally, she's like, you are throwing ping pong balls at a tank, honey. And
Exactly.
nothing is going to stop this.
Wow.
Not 2 extra strength Tylenol, not Aleve, not Advil, none of that. So I did have some sense of the absolutely mind-altering pain of the situation.
Horror. That's true horror.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You think Walking Dead is horrifying. Try having a baby without anesthetic.
And I've never had a baby at all. So my hat is off to you.
No. I mean,
sister. Wow.
it was a very naive move on my part. I think there's so much going on.
We've got like a
Yeah, do you want
poltergeist
to trade
in the
here?
system.
You can have mine, but I'm a little far away and I can't throw that.
No, I mean, I think probably actually in that moment, if possible, this is true, the psychological pain of losing 2 children at once by stepping out of their lives probably eclipsed the physical pain of the thing.
Yeah.
Goodbye to both of your kids. It's like Sophie's Choice, except there's no choice.
Oh God, that movie. Oh, I haven't even watched Sophie's Choice. I haven't been mentally prepared to do that yet. I hope to one day. This is Meryl Streep, right?
Yep, and I'll tell you what, this guy made it real easy. Because
Chandler was there, right? His character was there.
he was
in the jail.
there in the way
Prison.
that an actor with 30 years of experience. Awesome.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. I think you're right. There needs to be more women in entertainment, writing, directing, acting, more screen time, and equal pay with the guys. Hell yeah. Rocking out to me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi.
I like your hat.
Thank you.
I do too.
Thank you. Your dad probably would have liked it too, you know. So I have a question for all of you. So for Chandler and Sarah, if you could have rewritten the way you died, opposed to shooting yourself in the head or dying giving birth, what would it have been? And then also for Cailey, I don't know what happens like later, but if you could decide.
I'm sorry, she just found out about my character's death.
Just found out that he killed himself.
He didn't want Rick.
Hello. Yeah, you blew Sarah's mind.
You really haven't watched the show.
That's what I get for not watching the show. It's okay.
And then Cailey, so I don't know what happens like with your character in the future, but if you get to choose, if you were to like hypothetically get to choose like how your character were to go, how would it be? Sorry.
I don't know. I don't really want to think about it.
Old age.
Old age.
Old age. Perfect. Peacefully in your sleep. Yeah.
Yes, something without blood, because I hate blood. Ugh.
Or
Yeah,
you
what-
in the wrong show.
I know.
I always kind of hoped that if Carl were to die on the show, it would, be with like gunfire and explosions and everything. And when I found out that Carl was gonna die, the showrunner at the time kind of pitched it to me, and he was like, "Yeah, so Carl's, he's gonna get bit, and then he's gonna end up down in the sewer, and then that's where he's gonna die." I'm like, "Man, he's gonna crawl down into a sewer and die? What the man?" Okay, but then I got the script for the episode, and I got my explosions, and I got my gunfire, and Carl saved the day, and like all of Alexandria. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think for me, I don't know that I could have come up with a better death. You know, like, if you're gonna go, make sure your kids are gonna be okay, right? I think I was pretty, happy with it's a funny way to say it, but yeah, I think they did it justice.
It's powerful. Like, still to this day, that episode is the one that
Yes.
wrecks me the most. I
It
can't.
hits me every time. You killed it. Absolutely. You and Chandler both.
I killed you.
Gets attention.
It was sort of a joint effort.
It was. Go team.
Yeah, go team. Go Grimes family.
I'm really sorry, y'all. I haven't been around people in 2 years. Just keep that in mind.
We're all a little goofy. It's okay.
Awesome.
Okay, next
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
next
you.
question. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello. I just want to start off by saying, Chandler, you are now my husband. My dad really wanted me to kiss you during the photo op, but I told him I ain't doing that.
I appreciate you not doing that. Thank you very much.
Consent is an important part of photo ops.
So my first question is for Cailey and Chandler. I was wondering, like, how is it growing up on the show and starting acting at such a young age?
Ooh, it's cool because I started the show when I was 11, and now I'm about to be 15. So definitely grown up a lot, but I've also learned a lot along the way, and I've got to work with the most amazing people.
Yeah, I think it was more about growing up on a set as incredible as The Walking Dead, more so than just growing up on a show. I mean, it's the cast and the crew on that set is just incredible. Like, showing up every day ready to put their heart and soul into a show that they believe in, that they're excited about. It's very rare to find, and yeah, it was just the luckiest thing that I could have possibly landed on. It was really cool.
You know what though? I gotta big ups these guys for a second. We were just talking about this backstage. Between setups, we on the grown-up side go like have a Gatorade or cool down or run our lines or calm down. These guys had to go to school. And so they were actually kind of working 2 full-time jobs in terms of going to work and going to school at the same time. And it's a huge burden on these guys. And then you gotta turn around from like geometry and give a performance. And it's really like, I gotta give them a lot of credit because it's harder work than I had to do. And I think they do it beautifully.
So, Cailey, being young and kind of the start of your career, and you've already made such a name for yourself with these huge universes. I mean, The Walking Dead is such a huge thing, but I mean, you've already done Marvel and Star Wars. So, what is that like, getting to do these kind of things, and where do you see that taking you, the trajectory there?
It's really cool. Star Wars was really cool. That was like my first big thing. So I started acting when I was, I think, in August or September, and then I did Star Wars in June, I think. So it was like really fast, but
That's like Steven Yeun's speed of light.
it was awesome, and I'm just super grateful.
It's awesome.
I have one more question.
All right.
So, for all 3 of you guys, I was wondering, other than character deaths, what was the most tragic event for your character, according to you?
Well, man, I always say that the hardest scene to do was Laurie's death scene, because it took us like 2 days to shoot that whole sequence, and it was just crying nonstop for the whole day, and it was not fun. It was pretty rough, and I think it was either like the day after or something was like my 13th birthday, so it was like man, this sucks.
I don't know. Maybe when Michonne left, now she's got nobody. She's got Uncle Daryl. Hopefully he doesn't leave.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think in some ways losing Dale was like kind of the moral compass fell out of things in some ways. I guess I'd go with that, but I'd really have to think about that. Because there were a lot of hits. I mean, you getting shot was probably the hardest. That sequence, because again, that took days.
4 episodes of like he's standing next to his bed, Carl's bed, like, you know, that had to have not been easy.
Yeah, that was no fun. That was no fun. Yeah, I guess that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next question.
Hi. Thank you. Hi, I just want to say thank you all for coming. We love the panels, they're awesome. Cailey, I am loving RJ as a legacy character for Rick and Michonne, and Judith is an amazing big sister.
Thank you.
What can you tell us about Anthony? Like, what is it like working with him, by him being so young? What can you tell us about his personality, what it's like working with him, things like that?
It's really cool because I don't have, like, I'm the youngest sibling, so it's cool to kind of have, like, a younger brother. But he's so smart. Like, no, I'm serious. He's literally the smartest person in the world. He knows everything about dinosaurs.
Oh.
And I think that is so cool. Like, whenever we're offset or just hanging out, he'll teach me about dinosaurs, so that's really cool.
So what's
And
your
he's
favorite
awesome.
now?
I like the Stegosaurus. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Next question. Go ahead.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm having a really great time, by the way. This question is for Cailey. What or how do you think Judith is adjusting to life in the Commonwealth without a mom?
Ooh, it's definitely different for sure. I love that she got to try cotton candy for the first time. And it was funny because, well, this has nothing to do with it, but whenever we had to shoot that, I do not like cotton candy. And they were like, you have to act like this is the best thing you've ever tasted. And so I was like, okay. So we had to do that a few times. But it was cool. It's cool to see how much life there is outside of the apocalypse. Or before. Still the apocalypse.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Next question. Go ahead.
Hi, this question is also for Cailey. With Judith's, for it being so hard for her to lose Carl, how was filming the handprint scene when those broke?
The handprints?
Yeah.
That was so sad. I remember filming the scene with Judith and Rosita on the stairs where she's just like looking at them.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there crying, looking at these handprints. It was so sad just looking at them. So, I mean, it's definitely heartbreaking. I mean, she lost her only sibling, besides RJ. I mean, she lost her older brother, somebody that she looked up to. So, yeah, it was really sad. But whenever we did that, I think everybody was crying on that day.
I wondered if that was I didn't see the scene, but I was told about it, and I wondered if it was the actual like handprints that myself and the other actress that had played Judith went there that day. Did they mention if it was the same ones?
It was the ones that had been hanging up in the house.
Right, yeah. I was
Obviously.
yeah, but I was trying to piece together if like they had recreated it, for as a prop or something, but
I don't know.
yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead. Next question.
I guess I'm too tall for this. The Walking Dead has been very connected with horror for a very long time, creatively and, of course, genre-wise. And I was just curious, if you like horror, what's your favorite horror movie?
I wouldn't say I'm like super big into horror specifically. I wouldn't even classify. I mean, sure, The Walking Dead is rooted in horror, but it's not a horror show. I wouldn't say it's not about zombies. It's I don't have to tell you guys this. You guys know it's about the people and their stories and all that stuff, and about how dark people can get when there's no rules, that kind of thing. So yeah, sorry, that's not really the answer that you're looking for. I'm sorry, man.
I don't have one. I've never seen a scary movie, actually. I hate scary stuff. Hate scary stuff, hate blood.
Legit, my daughter. I can't watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, me either.
So, I mean, I think the closest I come to watching horror these days is the news. Because it feels that way.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Bit of a follow-up, considering you guys were so young working on the show, did any of the scenes with blood kind of affect you a bit?
Sorry. What was it?
With your age, did the like horror scenes and the like gory stuff in the show ever bother you?
Yeah, I don't like blood. That's why I don't like to watch, like if a really like gross part comes on, I'll just close my eyes. Yeah. It's not as bad in real life though. But on TV it's disgusting.
Me personally, I'm a huge fan of. I'm a huge gamer and play a lot of video games where you kill zombies or people. So, and I realize that sounds a lot crazier now that I'm saying it. That I play video games where I kill people. I'm not a sociopath, I promise. But yeah, no, it never bothered me. I thought it was so cool seeing all the zombies and everything. It was literally like, especially in the earlier seasons, it was like living a dream from playing all these cool video games and then going to get to be in a show where I'm like killing zombies. It was the coolest thing ever for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Speaking of like the video games and stuff, you've been doing a lot of like charity like streams on Twitch and everything lately. So what's that been like for you? Kind of like the Twitch community. Is it a very different thing than kind of Hollywood, whatever, acting community and all of these kind of things that you were around younger?
Well, I've been super involved in Twitch like forever. So streaming on Twitch has just kind of been like a natural thing, and it's been pretty cool being able to like just chill and play video games and talk to people and to raise money for charity. It's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Go ahead.
Hi, I had a question about like what was the most emotionally taxing scenes that all three of you did? Because I was at the panel with Michael James Shaw and Paolo Lazaro, so like the princess and the guy from the Commonwealth, and they talked about how in their scenes that are like really tough or difficult, y'all would like ask each other, hey, what do you need from me to be able to make this scene happen for you? So like, what was the most emotionally taxing scenes for all of y'all?
I mean, I think it kind of, for me, comes back down to, that question earlier, like the scenes at Carl's bedside when he was shot. I think early on, Andy and John and I kind of evolved a philosophy between the three of us that you cannot give a good performance for yourself. You can give a good performance to the person who's acting opposite you. So if I do my job as an actor, then all you have to do when you're acting opposite me is look at me and tell the truth. Because I'll be telling you the truth and it'll be okay. So my job was to give them what they needed when the camera was on them. And then I knew that when the camera was on me, all I'd have to do is pay attention to them and really listen. It's kind of beautiful to hear that philosophy has sort of continued to work its way through the work ethic on the show. Because it becomes a rising tide that lifts all boats. And, I've said it before, but I think vanity and ego are the enemy of art. And people who are there for their own work tend not to foster the good work of others. Those scenes around your bedside, it was Scott, it was you, it was Andy, it was me, it was folks coming in and out of that, and everybody really showed up there for each other as much as they were possible, We all dug as far as we could in that one.
I just had to lay there. My job was pretty easy. Yeah.
But you killed it.
But yeah, I think similar to my previous answer about Laurie's death scene was being like the most kind of just emotionally charged and hardest thing to shoot because, like I was saying, it took so long for us to do, and it was. And it was unexpected for me. was expecting, kind of like basing the story from the show off of the comics. Most of the stuff that had happened so far had stayed like mostly true to the comics, and Laurie was supposed to survive for a good while longer. So when I was told that was going to be happening, like on, pretty soon, it was it was tough because I felt like. I don't know, those first few seasons, I felt like we were all just so close because we didn't know that it was going to be some sort of like big thing, None of us thought that the show would go anywhere or do anything. The last day in the first season, I remember we finished the last shot and we were all like crying and hugging each other and like, all right, well, it was a fun 6 episodes. Hopefully we'll see each other again. We don't know, and that's just kind of how it goes. And so, losing like a really just like solid rock, that was a part of that kind of foundation was pretty tough.
All right, great question. Thanks so much.
Great question. Thank you. Go ahead.
It's okay. No, it's okay. Hi, so it's kind of more a question for Sarah and Cailey, but since you guys have never shot any like scenes together, what's it like meeting like your daughter and your mom for the first time?
Aw, she's awesome.
Samesies. Yeah, I mean, to like, truly, it's exciting to see the people that I know on the show talk about like, oh my God, this kid is amazing, you're gonna love, like, it's very cool. We all talk to each other and there's this sense of like people hyping you and loving what you bring to the show and stuff like that. And you're scared of horror and I'm scared of horror, so I think we're probably in good shape.
So sweet.
This question's for Chandler. What's your favorite ski resort and what's your favorite story on the mountain?
My favorite ski resort and favorite story on the mountain. I'm huge into snowboarding. It's the only sport that I've ever been good at. Like I tried a bunch of stuff in high school and like when I was younger, and I was just terrible at everything. But snowboarding is one thing I was decent at. Big Sky is my favorite resort, and I don't know if I have like a favorite story, but I remember one of the first times that I like went out on the mountain. I was still learning how to snowboard, and I was at Breckenridge and just ended up in the woods and had to hike out. And I didn't realize that stepping close to the trees, you sink all the way down, and just like the fear and adrenaline that like rushes through you as you're like sinking below the snow, and like, you get a board attached to you and you're trying to like claw your way. It's not fun. So not my favorite story at all, actually. I don't know why I said that.
That's the worst story ever.
Well, a memorable story.
It would be a dream to ride with you, Chandler. That's
what was that, sorry?
It would be a dream to ride with you.
Oh, well, I'd love that. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
It's awesome. Go ahead, next question.
Hi, my question is for Cailey. What is the biggest way you think that Judith honors Carl and her character and who she is?
I don't know. I haven't seen seasons 1 through 8, so I don't even know. I don't know. All I know is that you have the hat.
I did. That is correct.
Okay.
I did have the hat.
Okay. And now I have it. That was a horrible answer.
Hey,
sorry.
but the fact that you're asking that means that she is doing her job as an actress, which is amazing. They're killing it, by the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I would say Judith carries the self-confidence in who she is like Laurie did. I would.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
She's definitely her mother's daughter, for sure.
All right, we are running a little shorter on time, so we got a lot of people to get to, so we can kind of rapid fire real quick. That would be super helpful. We really appreciate it. But thank you guys for coming out, for sure.
Yes, thank you.
Question for Sarah and Chandler. Quick recap for the question for Sarah. So there's a scene where Judith is basically like being bullied by these older kids who are being really stinky and like kind of making fun of her for her parents not
Where
being
are they?
around. Exactly. Leads me to my question.
Okay.
So what would you as mom and big brother do if you heard that little Judith was being bullied by some stinkers?
Fuck them up. daughter. I'm like mad right now. Like this is fake, and I'm mad right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was mad, so thank you.
Okay, so this. Sorry, I'm short. So this question is for all three of you. So what do you think would have happened, like how the show would have played out if Shane had killed Rick that night?
It would have been a great 3 seasons.
I could see that.
That was good. That's good.
The world would never have had Ride.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do often wonder about how Shane would react in certain situations, like with Negan or the governor. Or what. Would have been cool.
How do you think Carl would have turned out if he was raised by Shane?
Carl would have been raised by Lori. Let's be real clear about this. I'm just saying.
All right, thank you. We gotta get.
Okay.
That's a really interesting. I mean, but the quick. I think the quick version of this is that Rick might have been more human, but Shane was very decisive, and so there is a possibility that he could have kept people alive physically. The question is, what would have happened to them emotionally and spiritually, having to give that up? But that was the central thing of the show, obviously. But I think it's possible that there might be more living people, but maybe they would be a little bit more not so good in the head.
Go ahead.
Hi, Chandler, for like the third time today. So this question kind of goes out to all of y'all. It's kind of complicated. I hope it makes sense. So basically, as you know, Carl and Lori both died. And Judith's kind of, still alive, thank God. But how do you guys think that Judith knows about, like, what happened with Rick and Shane and, like, how Lori died? Like, do you think she knows about the people protecting her, being as the two people who did it the most are no longer alive, and Rick and Michonne aren't even on the show anymore?
How much does she know about her family?
I'm sure she's been told, like, about Lori, and obviously she knows about Carl, but I don't know. So, I don't know.
Like,
I feel like Shane was probably just kind of swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They really brought him back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Has he become the Bruno of the Walking Dead universe? That's what it is? We just don't.
I don't know if she knows about.
Back in season like 8 or so, I think it was 8, it was 7 or 8, Rick had brought up Shane to Michonne, so I had just been wondering always, like, how would Judith feel about if she knew, like, what her dad had done and everything, and, just wondering, like, if she would have picked a side, and even, kind of for you, Chandler, how do you think Carl felt later on about all that?
I mean, they're kids. It's hard to, like, put a decision. I mean, imagine, a kid with divorced parents. It's like you can't make them choose. But I don't know. I mean, again, kind of like I was saying earlier, I think Carl had kind of already pieced it together over time. But I don't know. I don't think it would really matter to Judith.
Yeah, I think if if somebody told her about Shane, I don't think she would have cared. Like, Rick is her dad.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I love you all. Y'all are great.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I would highly suggest. You want to take one more?
We can take one more, I think,
one
and
more.
then, unfortunately, again, just with timing, and I'm so glad that this many people are out here. I can attest that all three of them are really awesome. I'm gonna drop my phone in a minute. All three of them are really great. So if you got your questions, definitely go over to their booths.
Yeah, go to
the rest of
booth,
today,
ask your
tomorrow,
questions.
whoever's here, and talk to them. They're awesome. So definitely get your questions into them then.
Yeah, we'll take one more.
Yes, this message is for Sarah. Congratulations, by the way, on your podcast, the win for the nominations. How is it like acting for a podcast, for a show on a podcast versus where you have a set and you can actually see physical activities and stuff like that? This is, you got to do it all in your head and kind of lay it out. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, I think obviously the big difference is that I can take a lot of zeros off the production budget. So if I want to have an 80-foot tidal wave in Act 2 and then an earthquake in Act 3, I can have them because they don't cost anything. So there's a huge amount of creative freedom in that, which is really exciting. And I think on the audience side, what's kind of cool is when I say tidal wave, whatever's in my head doesn't matter because it's whatever's in your head when you're listening. So you draw on your own experience and your own fears, and so it's kind of tailored to you in a way, I think. That it was a joy. Thank you for bringing it up at all. Like, I appreciate you for even taking the time to transition from something that's as giant and extraordinary and well produced as The Walking Dead, and then like listen to a podcast with like me and Jeffrey Dean. Like, very, very sweet of you. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for producing it. And like you said, it brings you back to an era where you use your own creativity, and hopefully it'll inspire some people out there to be more creative.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for having us.
Guys are great.
Thank you.
Come to our tables. Meet us.
We love you.
Wayne Callies, Cailey Fleming, Chandler Riggs.
Bye, guys.
Awesome.
Hi, this is Maisie Richardson-Sellers, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be a legend and hit that like button, and most importantly, have fun and follow your fandom.